When I was at UT was when I really became involved in protests and demonstrations. Knoxville College being a historically black college, they were not as active, but being at UT, we as students could see the racial disparity. We, even though we were at UT and we were in a minority, there were professors that tried to treat us fairly. But I became really active in the civil rights movement when I was at UT. They had named Knoxville the All-American City. Well, we knew, when I say we, students knew, the community knew that it was not truly an All-American city because there was still segregation, there was still areas that we could not go to. If we went, we had one day only. For example, Chihawi, we could only go skating on Thursday. We couldn't go to certain restaurants. And as a student at UT, I was more active in the movement of trying to have equality for blacks. It was in April of 1962, as I mentioned earlier, they had named Knoxville the All-American City. And we were on Church Street. And during that time, demonstrations, sit-ins were occurring all across the country. And I can recall my uncle telling me, do not go and march. You will be arrested. But I went anyway, and I was arrested. In many instances across the country, they would use water hose, dogs on demonstrators. But these police officers were very polite. They helped us in the paddy wagon. My cousin, Ann Davis Chandler, Marion Berry was involved, Dwight Lewis was involved, and Miss Willie C. Lewis was standing on the sideline and saying, why are you arresting these students? And was yelling at the police officer, and so they arrested Miss Lewis as well.
Wow.
At that time, there were churches that had set up funds to post bail for students that were arrested. I can even recall what I had on, if I may share that. I had on a white blouse, I had a black skirt that had pleats, and I had a belt on. Well, when they arrested us, they fingerprinted us, took our mug shots, and put us behind bars. But they made me take off my belt. And I guess that was to ensure that I didn't do anything to hurt myself. We stayed in jail for about 5 or 6 hours. It was an experience that still resonates in my mind. That, first of all, my uncle had told me not to go, and here I am in jail, so how am I going to let him know that I'm in jail? Scared to death to tell him. Secondly, but I felt that my belief in justice and in equality for people of color was something that was important enough to me that I was willing to go to jail for. Reverend Crutcher was head of the fund, and he came and bailed us out. So then when we had to go to court, the judge did throw the case out.
There weren't a lot of students black students at the University of Tennessee.
Oh no.
So how many were involved in the demonstration that got you guys arrested? Approximately.
Well, if I remember correctly, there were about 10 of us.
And they were all UT students?
All UT students. And Marion Berry, who was working on his master's in chemistry, was a part of the demonstration.
And Marion Berry became the mayor of Washington, D.C.?
Right,
okay.
correct.
I want to be sure we were talking about the same Marion Berry.
Yes.
Okay.
And one other thing I can recall, we used to have, they were called freedom trains, where trains would come through your city, and because they were not allowed to sit or to go to a restaurant, we would take them lunch, food, for them to continue on their journey to whatever city they were marching in.
And when you say we, you're referring to
Students.
Students.
Students.